Good morning, New Life Church. My name is Chuck Jeffcoats. My wife Amy and I are at the Heber Springs campus, and we get to pastor the worship team and the life group side of our church. And today I want to bring the Devo on honesty and integrity. And I was thinking about this today, and this word integrity, I looked up the definition of it, and there's two definitions here. It says the quality of being honest and having strong and moral principles. And the second one is the state of being whole and undivided. And so I think about this idea of honesty and integrity. I think about one person, right? You think about one person, that person is Jesus. He was the perfect example of honesty and integrity. And in fact, him being in front of crowds, he was the same person there that he was in private. And so if you take a look at the end of Matthew chapter 3, you see that Jesus has just been baptized by John the Baptist. So he's going public with his faith, and he's declaring, that he's following God, just like most of you have probably done. And if you look at the very next chapter in Matthew chapter 4, it actually goes in, and this is where Jesus is being tempted. In fact, Matthew chapter 4 verse 1 says, "Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted there by the devil." And so here Jesus was just being baptized, and he goes into the wilderness alone. He's all by himself, and the devil tries to trip him up, right? It goes on and up to verse 10. If you read up until then, you'll see that Jesus was tempted 3 times. He was tempted with food, he was tempted with faith, and he was tested with fame. And as a pastor, obviously I've got to come up with 3 words that start with the same letter. I mean, that's just how it has to work, right? And so here Jesus he was tempted 3 times, but he chose to live with integrity, and so he declined all those temptations. We're all tempted every single day, and we have the opportunity to live with integrity, to choose to make the right decision, even when people are not looking. I remember when I was in my early 20s, I formed a band with some friends of mine, and we had this idea that we were going to be a Christian band, and so we did that, and we played shows, around Arkansas and Tennessee, some in Missouri, and I had a great time doing it. And we kind of always took the opportunity to try to share a little bit about Jesus whenever we were on the stage, and just kind of, hey, if you want to talk about this after the show, then come and see us. But the problem with that was, for me, is that I was not living up to what I was preaching on the stage. In fact, I would even say that I was wearing a mask. I was at home, I was making wrong decisions. When I was by myself, I was looking at things that I shouldn't have been looking at. I was thinking about things that I shouldn't have been thinking about. I was really being a hypocrite in a sense. I had no integrity in my private life. And when I think about integrity, I've heard this story about Reverend Billy Graham, where, when he was traveling, he traveled all around the world. When he was traveling and he was without his wife, he always had a staff member check his hotel rooms, look under the bed, look in the closets, look in the restroom, all that stuff, just to make sure that there were no surprises and that his integrity would stay intact. In fact, a cool quote that I found here by him, it says, "Integrity means that if our private life was suddenly exposed, we'd have no reason to be ashamed or embarrassed. Integrity means our outward life is consistent with our inner convictions." Man, that's good. And that's something to think about. And so I want to give you a challenge, or really I want Paul from the Bible to give you a challenge today. This is in Romans chapter 12, it's verse 3. It says, "Because of the privilege and authority God has given me, I give each of you this warning. Don't think you are better than you really are. Be honest," check this out, "be honest in your evaluation of yourselves, measuring yourselves by the faith that God has given us." And so I really think that Billy Graham got himself to this point of such integrity because he was doing this, right? He was always evaluating himself, his convictions. He was always evaluating his situations that he was going to be in. And so I would like for us to ask ourselves these questions today. So what does honesty and integrity honestly look like in my life? And it's going to take really being honest with yourself to answer this. What does it look like in my life? And am I living in such a way that my private life and my public life look the same? Am I wearing a mask when I'm out publicly? What about, am I the same person at work that I am at home, or maybe even at church? Maybe at church it's easy to come to church and put on a mask. I know that would have been me for a long time, and it just took me being honest with myself and saying, hey, you're living two different lives here. And so ask yourself these questions, because you know what, when I read the Bible, I really think that what we see in the story of Jesus there is that he was leading himself way more than he was leading other people. He couldn't be the example and be who he was until he could make sure he had himself in check, right? And so thank you guys for joining me today. I hope this is challenging for you. I know it is for me. I have to think about it every single day. Y'all be blessed.